Afternoon, everyone. I would like to officially call this Senate session to order this afternoon. Today is September 11, 2023. We apologize for the late start of the session. It's exactly 2:14 in the afternoon. And before we do the roll call, I would like to ask everyone to please put your phone on silent mode. And also please stand for a moment of silence. And this is our second regular session for today. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Babalta,
Presente.
Senator Cruz,
Here.
Madam President,
Here.
Senator Hofschneider, Senator King Neighbors,
Here.
Senator Magofnia,
Gaya.
Senator Manglonia Donald, Senator Manglonia Paul,
Here.
Senator Mendiola,
Here.
Madam President, 8 members are present, 1 absent.
With 8 members present and 1 absent, may the record reflect that Senator Jude Hofschneider is hereby excused from this session, and we have established a sufficient number for quorum this afternoon. And before we proceed on the agenda, I would like to inform the general public that we are live on our cable channel 23 and also on the CNMI Legislature's YouTube channel, which will be shared on the CNMI Legislature's Facebook page as well for this afternoon's session. And assisting us this afternoon is Senate Legal Counsel Joe Bermudez, our Clerk Dolores Bermudez, Senate Legislative Assistant Jolene Tagabo Duenas, and Devin Macaranes, our IT Manager, IT Assistant Jonathan Diaz, Sergeant at Arms Benjamin Terlahi, and Brendan Manglonia, who just joined us today as a new employee of the LB. Welcome aboard. Thank you. And now we move on to item B of our agenda under public comment. If there's anyone out there that would like to make a comment on the agenda items this afternoon, you may come up, please, and state your name. No comments from the public? Okay, we shall proceed. That section of the agenda is officially closed. Item C, reading and approval of the journal. There's none. Item D, messages from the governor. Clerk?
Madam President, we only have 2 on our agenda, 23, 155, and 156.
Any comments from the members? None. We shall proceed. Section E of the agenda, communications from the judiciary. There is none. Item F, communications from the heads of executive department. Clerk?
Madam President, we have Department Message 2315.
Any comments from the members? None. Item G, communications from the House. Clerk?
We have 1 also, 2360.
Any comments from the members? None. Communications from the Senate. Item H. Clerk?
We have 3 on our agenda, 23 254 to 256.
Any comments from the members? For myself, I'd like to make a brief comment on Senate Communication Number 254. I invoke the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, with the FEMA office to get information regarding the expenses that were expended by the CNMI state with respect to all the disasters that we have gone through, and also for the amount of reimbursements that we have potentially have received from FEMA. And the reason for that is because of what we are doing right now with respect to the FY24 budget deliberations that we are going through. I think it's important that we know exactly how much money we have spent, how much money we have received, and how much is pending for reimbursement for the CNMI state. Additionally, I do know that I believe there's about 35 employees that are being currently trained to proceed with the tax collections and tax enforcements of the Commonwealth. I think that's good news for us moving forward. And hopefully, with that particular training being completed, that the $24 million resolution that was passed by the Senate body and the House with respect to the uncollected NAP BGRTs, with those new agents that are going out on the street to work, the collections and enforcement of taxes that we hope to see, the collection of the $24 million that are underreported on BGRT. As well as I do want to share with the public that one of the reasons why this particular FOIA is important to us is that we have had numerous discussions here in the Senate chambers, and it doesn't seem to come to full closure of what revenues are we looking at potentially with respect to the reimbursements of all of those disaster expenses? And for the record as well, I am aware that prior to the passage of the House concurrent resolution, that there was a meeting that was called by the executive branch, including all the conferees on Saturday, August 19, 2023 at 3 p.m. at the governor's office. And the understanding of that meeting is that before the passage of the House concurrent resolution, that there was supposed to be a revision of the projections, which never came through. Therefore, the adoption of the Senate version successfully went through, and that's where we are today. And that would be my comment on that particular communication. Moving on to item I, communications from the Washington delegate, there is none. Unfinished business on section J, there is none. K, pre-file bills, initiatives, local bills, and resolutions, there is none. Introduction of bills, initiatives, local bills, and resolutions, none. Reports of standing committees, there is none. Reports of special conference committee, there is none. Item O, resolution calendar, I now recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. Under item O, we have one resolution for adoption. Senate Resolution Number 23-10, introduced by Senator Edith Dillon Guerrero, requesting the Honorable Governor Arnold I. Palacios to reserve Commonwealth funds to provide a retiree bonus or COLA to be distributed equally to all settlement class members and CNMI fund members receiving an annuity. Members, I move for its adoption.
Second.
There is a motion to adopt Senate Resolution 23-10. It has been seconded. Any discussions from the members? None?
Madam President?
Recognize Senator Paul Manglona.
Yeah, I I guess we all know that we always all support the retirees, Madam Press, but this is basically requesting the governor to provide a retiree bonus at a time when we're, like you mentioned earlier, we're working on the financial and receivables and the revenues, and so I don't know. I just feel like this is something that maybe we can give to fiscal affairs and report it out on the next session, so that we can all feel comfortable that when we pass such a resolution that we're giving full confidence to our retirees that there is potentially such a funding so that we can give them the bonus. I totally agree that they haven't gotten a bonus for several years already, and something that the government should acknowledge each time they entertain our fiscal plans. So I don't know if it would hurt to give it to the committee and have them report back as to how actually, in looking at all our situation here, and so now we have a budget that we're going to be passing in a little bit, and it's going to probably go into the conference committee. Pues, I know this is only a resolution. The message is to pata ata ni retirauta siya pata na fanmajuda the torusita sumapuputeno logi pagu when we're in the middle of the budget kausinya at least tanay kumiteza no atan mon actually na sinya no tanagwasti na chansa na fanmajuda manangkota. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Paul. And just for the record, for clarification regarding the resolution, that it does actually give the governor the opportunity to provide a retiree bonus or COLA. And specifically on the resolution on page 2, on line 7, it talks about receiving an annuity upon resolution of the CNMI's financial crisis. I do not have an issue referring this to the Senate Fiscal Affairs Committee, and we shall do that. Thank you, Senator Paul. Moving on to item P, bill calendar. I now recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. Under item P, we have one, House Bill number 23-66 HS1 SS1 to make appropriations for the operations and activities of the government of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, its agencies, instrumentalities, and independent programs, and to provide budget authority for government corporations for fiscal year 2024 and for other purposes. Members, I move for its passage.
Thank you, Floor Leader. There is a motion to pass House Bill number 23-66, version HS1, SS1, and it has been seconded. Any discussions from the members? Recognize Senator Donald Manglona.
Thank you, Madam President. I know that there might be some amendments made, but before we address any amendments proposed by the members, I'd like to just briefly go over some of the major changes that the committee took to provide you with this substitute version. I guess I'll just start off with we added a provision that would kind of regulate the donation of sick leave to match and have the rate of the donation correlate with the base rate of the recipient or the donor's salary. And so there's a formula that was provided to better clarify how that will be converted if someone were to donate based on what their salary is to the recipient and based on what their salary is at the time. And so that was something that we included. Utilities, we exempted, or we included a provision to have the executive branch address all utilities for the municipality as well as departments within the executive branch. As far as legal holidays, we indicated a figure. I know the House indicated a suspension of more than one holiday, but the committee felt that we should identify a number not to exceed, and that number is 5. And so we exempted the House and the legislature and the judiciary in the event that they have outside source funds or additional funds under their personnel allocation that could cover these legal holidays, that any suspension to the holidays would come from the executive branch should they choose to apply, should the governor choose to suspend any of the holidays. Under marriage license fee, the House proposed to increase the marriage license fee by 100%. The committee took that out because we kind of felt like this is similar to an increase in BGR that we fought hard to take out of the budget bill and feel that this should be done in a separate legislation. We took out the fiscal year limitations. The House proposed that to remove any fiscal year limitations on funds that have not been expended, because based on the Constitution, all remaining funds shall be used to address the deficit reduction. We also added provision under accepted service contracts that no accepted service contract renewal shall receive a salary increase until such time all employees are restored back to 80 hours. We also allowed for the legislature and the judiciary to establish their hours of operation in the event we are to, or since we reduce the hours of the legislature and the judiciary to 72, we gave the presiding officers of the LB and the justices of the judicial branch to apply their austerity the way they see fit. On page 38, the Medicaid, we basically mirrored the provision in this current fiscal year based on the concerns that were brought up by Medicaid, just to allow them to move monies around in the event of a shortfall in one particular business unit. And so this was just giving them the authority to move funds to cover down on any business unit that falls short. We also removed the provision on compact impact funds based on information we received from Senator Revuelta and confirmed by Secretary of Finance that we will not be receiving compact impact funds for the next fiscal year. So those are the main provisions that the committee made amendments to in the budget. And just quickly going over the schedule, the changes that we made due to the decrease in net available resources from 115 million to 114 million. We had to take that basically 1 million elsewhere. And so we adjusted what's available to PSS by close to 300,000. And then the remaining funds were taken by Saipan Mayor to allow the mayor to use his ARPA to address these employees, and 185,000 from Medicaid match. We also took close to 2.2 million from Medicaid, provided 1.7 to Tinian to cover for the 73 employees. We reduced the legislature, the judiciary, the AG's office, public defender by 8 hours to assist with covering for that 1.7 million for Tinian. And then we also included close to 900,000 in GHLI to provide some sort of payment towards the premium owed to GHLI. And then we took care of several municipal needs in regards to transferring of positions and correct some of the information that was omitted from the governor's proposal to restore one position back or two positions back into the executive branch. And so with that, members, if there are any questions that you may have pertaining to the work of the committee, I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you, Madam President. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Donald Maglonia. Any other discussions from the members? Recognize Senator Carl Neighbors.
Right. Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make an amendment. I've provided everybody with a listing of the 4 amendments I'm going to be making today on page 32, line 8, under section 601 utilities, subsection C. I would like to insert language except for judicial branch and legislative branch. And that's just to clarify the language on how the senatorials are going to be covered for the CUC. So move.
Thank you, Senator Carl, for your motion to make amendment on page 23, line 8, inserting language under section 601 utilities, subsection C, to read C, except for the judicial branch and legislative branch. And it has been seconded. Any discussions from the members? Recognize legal counsel Joe Bermudez.
Just for clarification, I think we need to insert on the 1, 2, 3, 4th line. Says Tina Municipal Treasury transfers each month the required two biweekly payments. Oh, the 2 is in there? Oh, okay. Sure.
Still on the first amendment on page 23, recognize Senator Donald Maglonia.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make a subsidiary motion to Senator Carl's amendment. And that is to provide that any shortfall in utilities for the legislative branch and the judicial branch shall be covered by the central government. So move.
Okay, there is a subsidiary motion to amend page 23, line 8, and it has been seconded. Any further discussions on the members, from the members? Recognize Senator Donald Maglonia.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, that subsidiary motion was in the event there's a shortfall. While I understand that utilities were provided to the legislature and the judiciary, it's still it may result in a shortfall, which may force the courts to close down. I understand that discussions with the judiciary indicated that this funds that were transferred over for the utilities is still insufficient to cover the Road Antinian courthouse, and those would probably be the first courthouses that will be shut down. And so, in the event there are monies set aside for utilities by the executive branch, they could consider and address some of the utility issues that may come from both other branches. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Dono Maglonia. Any further discussions on the subsidiary motion? Members? I will take a voice call on this initial amendment on subsidiary motion. All those in favor say aye. Nays? The subsidiary motion to amend on page 23, line 8 is hereby carried. And Senator Neighbors, you still have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. On next amendment I would like to make is on page 32, line 12, under section 707, under second senatorial mayor of Tinian and Aguiguan, section B, $531,277,000 shall be transferred from the Tinian Municipal Treasury to the Commonwealth Government to partially fund the salaries of inclusive of the word or the number 24 employees under Tinian Mayor's Office. So the addition will be 24 and under Tinian Mayor's Office, who are not fully funded under this act. The additional language will be provided that the Tinian Municipal Treasury transfers each month the required 2 biweekly payments for these 24 employees, and then the Municipal Treasury shall provide the list of the 24 affected employees. So move.
Thank you, Senator Carl Neighbors, for your additional amendment. It has been seconded. Any further discussions from the members? Recognize Senator Salino Abauta.
Citizens Mossy, Madam President. Point of clarification. So the way I understand the amendment is that the municipal treasury of Tinian will be transferring their biweekly payroll for the 24 employees that will be funded under the 277,000 ARPA funds from municipal ARPA funds. Is that correct?
Correct, and it'll be transferred in 2 installments, two pay period installments.
Per month.
Correct.
What assurances do we have? My next question is, what if the municipal treasury fails to transfer these funds? Will these employees still be paid? If there's any glitch or
I would yield to the council because they're partially funded under, so whatever funding percentage that is inclusive of will be consistent of that obligation from that account. Does that make sense?
no, try again.
So whatever percentage of ARPA is inclusive of that amount. So employee A of the 531,277, you do a bi-weekly breakdown, so that amounts to $500 for employee A. If that percentage is not transmitted to Secretary of Finance or Department of Finance, then that won't be remitted back to the employee.
Okay. Just so we're clear on that. So what you're basically telling us, the Senate, is that if the municipal treasury fails or if there is an electronic glitch that somehow misses the timely remittance of these employees' payrolls, that the employee will not get paid on time.
Again, I'll yield to council and Secretary of Finance. I can only speak to the transfer of funds from the municipal treasury to Central. So if that-
Recognize legal counsel Joe Bermudez.
It sounds like it's gonna be under the authority of the Secretary of Finance. If I don't get the money and you're forcing me to pay it, I don't have to pay it because you didn't give me the money. So I think it will result of non-payment of those employees.
Clarified, I yield.
Thank you, Senator Babauta, and thank you, counsel, for clearing up the inquiry. Any further discussions? Recognize Senator Dono Maglonia.
Thank you, Madam President. I think the question that I have and just need clarification on is Tinian Municipal Treasury will remit a month's worth of payroll, and then they'll just pay the biweekly, the two pay periods within that month.
Correct. So
Or-
how we were discussing it with legal and with our fiscal analyst was we've already identified, so that number 531,277 correlates 27 employees. We've already-
24.
24, right?
Right.
So we've already identified those people and their salaries. So we want to ensure that that information is provided to the Secretary of Finance so that they're in concert with the drawdown of the ARPA. So we'll transfer those funds, two pay periods every month, and then they will follow that payment plan for those employees.
Okay. So I just want to be clear that the responsibility will essentially fall on Tinian to ensure that the transfers are remitted on time.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Carl Neighbors and Senator Donald Maglonia. Any other clarifications necessary? Recognize Senator Karina Magovia.
Thank you, Madam President. And just in line with Senator Donald, so it'll be a one-time remittance from Tinian Treasury worth two pay periods. Is that correct? Got it.
So it'll be a one-time for the month, for the two pay periods of that
Right.
month.
And not every two.
Correct. Not
okay.
every pay period.
Got it. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Magovia. Recognize Senator Selena Babauta.
Mrs. Masi, I'm sorry for the back and forth. What I'm understanding from Senator Carl Neighbors is that it will be a monthly transfer of funds. However, in your amendment, you verbalize that it will be two biweekly remittances. Is that correct, Council? I think that's what I heard.
To the amount required to cover two pay periods, which is two biweeklies each month.
Okay. So clarified. Sorry, I withdraw.
Okay, members, are we good? And I see we're good? Okay. All right. All right, let me restate the motion. It's page 32, line 12, to insert language under section 707, Second Senatorial District, Mayor of Tinian and Aguigan, and Tinian Municipal Council, subsection B. Any other further discussions? None? All those in favor of this floor amendment, say aye. Nays? Amendment number 2, page 32, line 12, is hereby adopted by this body. I now recognize Senator Donald.
Yeah. Point of clarification, President. I think the first amendment, we voted on the subsidiary motion, but not the main motion. Okay. Thank you.
Now I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Madam President. With the Senate body adopting House Bill number 23-66 version HS1 SS2, I now move for its passage. Thank you. Thank you. Do you want me to restate it?
Please restate the motion, floor leader.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. Again, restating the motion, with the Senate body adopting the amendments, I now move for the passage of HB number 23-66, version HS1 SS2 as amended. Thank you.
Do I hear a second?
Correction, Madam President.
Recognize Senator Paul.
SS1 as amended. Thank you.
Recognize Senator Cruz.
Yes, can I call for short recess, Madam President? Before we
Sure,
vote for
recess,
that?
please. Thank you. We are back from a short recess, and I will now recognize the floor leader to restate the motion on amendment number 1.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to restate the motion on amendment number 1 to this is number 1, right? To approve the language as amended on page 23, line 8, section 601 on utilities, subsection C, as offered by Senator King Neighbors. Members, I move for passage. Passage? Adoption. Adoption. Thank you.
There's a motion to adopt the amendment on number 1 as amended, and it has been seconded. Any further discussions from the members? None? All those in favor say aye. Nays? The amended version on amendment number 1 is hereby adopted. I now recognize the floor leader for the passage of the entire bill.
Thank-
Recognize Senator Carl Neighbors.
Thank you, Madam President. I apologize for the interruption. Lastly, I would like to make it a floor amendment to include under section 707, a new section, subsection C, to include one landfill supervisor for the DPW position, solid waste, on the second senatorial. And the reason for this amendment, Madam President and members, is that during our deliberations on the Island of Tinian, it was made clear that this position was filled as of May. However, the governor's proposal zeroed this position out, leaving the Department of Public Works non-compliant of their administrative order. So this is in their hopes to restore their compliance of administrative order DEQ SWM 2010-01. So move.
There's a motion to amend section 707 of the current House bill. Do I hear a second? Short recess, please. Thank you. We are back from our short recess, and I would now recognize Senator Carl Neighbors to restate his motion number 3 on section 707.
Thank you, Madam President. To include, so in section 707 under second senatorial, I would like to include the language. Oh, I would like to also insert under section C to include insert one new NOP and a position for a landfill supervisor under DPW second senatorial. And also lastly, $1 to be added to DFEMS and DPS for the second senatorial under personnel. So move.
There is a motion to amend section 707, section C, to add DPW landfill supervisor NOP for the second senatorial district, and also to make the subsequent changes on all NOP to other sections of the bill, and also to include $1 for DFEMS and DPS in the second senatorial district, and has been seconded. Any further discussions from the members? I recognize Senator Cruz.
Thank you. Can we make that clear? That dollar for each of that position are been defunded by the House? Because if you said $1 for DFM and DPS, it could be just one position. Can we make it very specific that $1 for each of those positions are being defunded by the version of the House?
I recognize the mover of the amendment, Senator Carl Neighbors, to please restate in clarity your amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. And so just point of clarification, if I could move to add $1 for each position that was defunded by the House action. So move.
Thank you, Senator Carl. Your amendment has been seconded. Any further discussions from the members? Recognize Senator Donald Manglona.
Thank you, Madam President. I think there has to be clarification. I think just $1 for NOP under DFEMS and $1 for NOP DPS. It doesn't necessarily have to be $9 for the 9th position. Is that what you're saying? $1 for each of the. Okay. Because the way it sounded like $1 for each unfunded position. So we're adding $2 to Tinian total Tinian personnel. So clear. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Donald Manglona, and thank you, Senator Carl Neighbors. Members, are we ready to adopt the third amendment to this bill? Yes? All those in favor say aye. Nays? Amendment number 3 is hereby adopted by the Senate body. I now recognize the floor leader. We are back to the main motion.
Thank you, Madam President. I now would like to offer a motion for passage for House Bill number 23-66, version HS1, SS1 as amended. Thank you.
Second.
There's a motion to adopt House Bill number 23-66, version HS1, SS1 as amended, and it has been seconded. Any further discussions from the members? None? Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Babauta,
I'm good.
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Senator King Neighbors,
Yes.
Senator Magofnia,
Yes.
Senator Manglona Donald,
Yes.
Senator Manglona Paul,
Yes.
Senator Mindiola,
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes.
Madam President, all 8 members voting yes.
With all 8 members voting yes, House Bill number 23-66, version HS1, SS1 as amended, hereby adopted by the Senate. I now recognize the floor leader to make the proper motion for the substitute bill. Yes. We're good? Okay. Short recess. Thank you, members. We're back from recess. Let me just restate that House Bill number 23-66, HS1, SS1, as amended hereby passes the Senate. Moving on the agenda, item Q, petitions, memorials, and miscellaneous communications. There is none. Section R of the agenda, announcements. Members, any announcements? None. Item S, let me recognize now the floor leader for the adjournment of the session.
Thank you, Madam President. I offer a motion to adjourn this session, subject to the call of the president.
There is a motion to adjourn this session and has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Nays, this session is hereby adjourned.